So this is how I spend my bye week. Margot's currently inside the National Sporting Museum. That's the museum. They've got a lot of horse memorabilia. And I just finished watching some football, the first half of games on Sunday, and they might apply to the 49ers trade deadline goals coming up here on Tuesday. 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific, right now in the Eastern time zone. I'm sure you guys seen a lot of videos of these beautiful fall colors. Oh my goodness, let's go check this out. Look, Sea Hero, the horse right behind us. We gotta flip the camera, maybe sit down on one of these benches. Champagne Stakes, 1992, Kentucky Derby, 1993, the Travers, 1993. The sculptor was Tessa Pullen. Beautiful. Especially at this time. I mean, if once I go all the way around here, we're gonna see the sunset. All right, what a shot. That's what it's all about here back east. This is Middleburg, Virginia, by the way. We're staying here. Middleburg, Virginia, 49ers back in action coming up really soon. And so we just watched the Miami Dolphins lose to the Buffalo Bills. And one thing that I wonder now, the Dolphins are 2-6. I talked about Calais Campbell in the video that I shot from Frederick, Maryland, the other state here, just a couple hours ago. That's up on the channel if you want to check it out. I talked about, who else? Jeffrey Simmons yesterday, Arden Key. I mean, those guys are currently playing in Titans, Patriots. Doesn't really matter how that game ends. Those are both teams that will be looking to sell, I would think. So that was an amazing play from Drake May to force overtime as time expired. I'm sure that's going to excite Robert Kraft and the Patriots. They're going to think they got a franchise guy and Drake May just based on that one play. Won't change the outlooks for this season, but the game that might change the outlook for this season is the game, the Bills-Dolphins game that we just saw. Miami lost 61-yard field goal to win the game for Buffalo at the very end. And with Miami now at 2-6, that season's so precarious. Why would you want to hold on to 38-year-old Calais Campbell? And there are a lot of teams looking for edge rushers and versatile defensive linemen, and that's who Calais Campbell is. So I get it, the 49ers aren't special, but I would think that they would throw their names into the ring to see if they could find somebody of worth to their defensive line at a reasonable price. And I would think that the Dolphins are going to be much more likely to sell now that they're 2-6 after a heartbreaking loss in Buffalo. So post your questions. We're here in Middleburg, Virginia. We're at the National Sporting Museum. Margot is inside checking out all the horses. She's inside that building. I'm looking at these awesome statues outside. Awesome sunset outside as well. That's Sea Hero behind me. And let's go see the rest of the grounds here. I think that everybody else is left besides me and Margot. And I just decided to get the fresh air on the East Coast. It's about 60 degrees. It's awesome. Maybe a little bit cooler than that. This is the time of the year you want to be here with the fall colors. Other games today, Washington. They're now 7-2 for the first time since 1996. So the Washington Commanders, congratulations to them. I know the New York Giants aren't very good, but winning on the road in the NFL is not easy. This is just a parking lot, but we've got some trees with absolutely fantastic color. Look at that. Walk over to those. Go check it out. Questions are welcome. I know that the games this afternoon are much more exciting than the games this morning. It was a terrible morning slate. They just picked off Drake May to win, so Tennessee wins. Again, Tennessee, they've got Jeffrey Simmons. That'd be like a dream if the 49ers could acquire Jeffrey Simmons. That's why I say it's unrealistic. I'm not even sure if the Titans want to move him. I think Rand Carthon and the Titans have said that they're not interested in moving Jeffrey Simmons, although every man has his price. But Tennessee also has Arden Key. That could be somebody that the 49ers are interested in picking up. They've already acquired Arden Key in the past. And he fit very well for San Francisco. His colors almost look fake here. So Titans beat the Patriots, but the Patriots are also a team with potential trade targets. We talk about Davon Godchaux. We can talk about Kendrick Bourne. Saw he made a catch down the stretch here. Love that. Absolutely love it. No games here for the 49ers in this region this year. The Ravens played today. Did the Ravens win? I didn't see that game. I know they were ahead. Figured they probably held on against the Broncos. But I talked about the Broncos earlier. That's a team that had players that the 49ers may well have been interested in, like DJ Jones, but they've just been winning so much. They've got a really good defense, and Bo Nix playing better. I don't know how it turned out for them today, but I think Denver's still going to solidly be in the mode of they're staying put, and why not with that defense and the way NFL teams can go, NFL seasons can go. Checking out the grounds here, checking out the beautiful trees. Questions are welcome ahead of the second round of games on this beautiful early November afternoon. The second round of games here today, obviously the headliners, the Lions and the Packers. And when we talk about Green Bay and we talk about Detroit's been awesome so far this year, plus 100 point differential. Green Bay's been explosive, but inconsistent. Obviously, a lot of that inconsistency, I think, comes from the fact that their starting quarterback, Jordan Love, has gone through some injury issues this year. The entire NFC North, though, has been so good across the board as far as every single team is in positive double digits in point differential. That right there is a matchup that I think could really set the tone for NFC supremacy for the rest of this regular season. The 49ers are obviously going to throw their names into that ring as well, but the NFC North is the strongest division, very, very clearly, and we're all going to be watching that really closely. If somebody can, knock the Lions off of their stride, because they clearly right now are the top contender there. They beat the Vikings on the road a couple weeks ago. Somebody like the Packers can knock the Lions off their stride. It's going to be even more of a free-for-all, not only at the top of the NFC North, but at the top of the NFC. And right now, the 49ers are laying in wait, right? The 49ers are on their bye week, recharging, potentially adding pieces by the trade deadline or a piece by the trade deadline on Tuesday. Coming off a big win against the Cowboys. Christian McCaffrey might be back for the 49ers sooner rather than later. The 49ers are waiting to make their move. It's like a horse race. I mean, we're at the National Sporting Museum. We're going to walk back over to the grounds here to check it out. But it's like a horse race. The first half is just positioning, and then you start to hit the bend and then the stretch run. And over that stretch run, you've really got to be ready to make your move. And I'm watching so many of these games, especially this one between the Lions and the Green Bay Packers, with bated breath, because I think they're really going to set the tone for what's going to happen here over the back half of the season, which includes that stretch run. All right, beautiful sunset, nice shadow. You can see myself there. And here we come to the grounds. I mean, it's just awesome, right? Sea hero. I'm going to sit down for a bit. We can talk from here. Somebody asked if the 49ers are going to rotate Mason and McCaffrey. Well, you can't forget about Isaac Guerendo, too. The 49ers are going to rotate Mason, McCaffrey, Guerendo, use everybody once Christian is cleared to come back. Isaac Guerendo is a weapon. I think he's a better fit for the system than Jordan Mason. I think Jordan Mason is a very valuable part of what the 49ers do, but he brings a change of pace. Guerendo brings the Raheem Mostert lightning acceleration, lightning burst. Christian McCaffrey's a mix of everything. He's a Hall of Famer, walking first ballot guy. So McCaffrey's obviously the best, but you've got to get him healthy and you have to keep him that way. Sal says, I heard Steve Young said they should use 3 backs at the same time. Could have 3. Okay, here we go. Is that better? I think I accidentally hit the mic. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I think you can. All right, where did we cut off? Was I talking about the three backs? The 49ers could use three horses in the backfield? Because all those guys are workhorses. I mean, you look at somebody like Christian McCaffrey with the carries that he has put up over the course of his 49ers career, not just on the ground, but also through catching the football out of the backfield. Jordan Mason, they've been working him this year. I mean, 20 plus carries in so many of his games, obviously dealing with the shoulder. Now, Guarendo's workload is increasing. He hadn't turned into a big carry guy yet. That reminds me, though, with Isaac Guarendo, he only started one game in college. And because of that, there's probably still tread on the tires for Isaac Guarendo. That was one of the big things that the 49ers said about him, and he said it about himself coming out of Louisville in college, that he's got a lot to go as far as energy left in the tank at a very demanding running back position. But anyway, back when they had Jeff Wilson Jr., this was one of the questions, will the 49ers use multiple backs at the same time? Because Steve Young actually recommended that they do this. They had Wilson and Christian McCaffrey against the Rams in that game where McCaffrey went crazy, 2022 season. They had formations where both Wilson and Christian McCaffrey lined up simultaneously in the backfield. So that is something that the 49ers have done before. That is something that the 49ers would be willing to do again. I don't know about three backs, but two backs is possible. And they're all about positional adaptability. This is a staple, maybe the staple of the offense for the 49ers. It's about selling multiple possibilities to defenses and then using that for the schematic advantage of the offense. And when a player like Deebo Samuel can line up in the backfield and he could line up as a wide receiver, and then you could change that before the snap so you could get the defense in the personnel package that you want, and then you could exploit it. When somebody like Christian McCaffrey can do the same thing, hell, even George Kittle has taken handoffs for the 49ers before. If you're able to stretch defenses thin cerebrally before plays, then you could physically exploit them during the actual play. If you can do it in so many different ways, why wouldn't you add another variation into your arsenal? And that could be running multiple running backs out there, as long as those running backs are also threats to catch the ball. Isaac Guarendo was a receiver to begin his college career. Christian McCaffrey is obviously a huge threat to catch the ball. So you put in multiple running backs who can all split out as wide receivers at any given time, then you could determine what you're running at the line of scrimmage. Brock Purdy can make that choice when he lines up there under center. You can determine what you're running based on what the defense is showing. If it's a heavier personnel package defensively, then you go to the pass. If it's a lighter personnel package, a nickel back package for the defense, then you could go to the run. And you don't pigeonhole yourself into a run, even if you have a couple running backs out on the field. I remember that's what the 49ers did against the Rams before they traded Jeff Wilson Jr. away in 2022 when Christian McCaffrey was still learning the ropes. And I'm sure that they can do something similar this year if Christian McCaffrey is activated sooner rather than later. Remember, the big news tomorrow for the 49ers, potentially, and it's not a sure thing yet, but the big news will be Christian McCaffrey. Is he activated at least to the practice window, not activated to the 53-man roster? That's a decision they probably won't make until Saturday if they do make it this week. And that's going to be the first step in seeing if this 49ers offense can further diversify what it is doing. Those of you just joining, we're in between games. We're wondering if the Miami Dolphins are going to be entering sell mode because we've been talking so much about Calais Campbell, future Hall of Fame defensive lineman, 38-year-old who's still playing well. That could be a player that the 49ers are interested in ahead of the trade deadline. A lot of teams, I think, should be interested in Calais Campbell. We were talking about a couple other teams who are certainly sellers. The Tennessee Titans, I believe, according to a commenter, beat the New England Patriots. Players on both of those teams that we've talked about. And we're also looking at a beautiful statue here of Sea Hero, who is facing the sunset. That's got to hurt his eyes, you would think, at some point, looking straight into that sun. But these are the beautiful grounds of the National Sporting Museum. This is Hunt Country, Middleburg, Virginia. I'll go ahead and answer more questions here before the sun fully sets. So go ahead and pass them off on the chat section. Look at our rental car, by the way. We did mystery car from Avis. Mystery car ended up being a Suburban. A little too big for 2 people, but I'll take it. Nice car, right? It's done a good job on the roads here in Virginia. I love the leaves. You know what I also love is the sound, that crunchy sound when you're walking on the leaves. It's very satisfying. Nice little crunch. So we talked Mason McCaffrey. We'll be watching some more games this afternoon. I think it's Rams Seahawks, right? It's going to be a good one. The Rams are threatening the surge. That's something that next time ask for a Corvette. We got the Suburban instead this time. I literally picked mystery car because I wanted to see if they'd give us something cool. And I don't expect to get a Suburban when I rent a car. I didn't think that they carried those at car rental centers, but the Corvette wasn't available. One time we got a convertible a couple years ago. That was fun. It was not a Suburban convertible. We'll say that. Anyway, Rams Seahawks. Rams threatening to go on a run with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back. That's going to be fun to see if they can position themselves to make that game on a Thursday night in December at Levi's Stadium a huge game. I think that would be a lot of fun. Seattle is coming into Levi's on November 17th. That's after the 49ers' next game against Tampa Bay. Seattle's got to show me something because as of late, hadn't been all too pretty for Seattle. I mean, we watched that game against the 49ers, and San Francisco was just clearly head and shoulders above what the product that Seattle was bringing to the table. So Seattle, to compete with the 49ers of the division, to compete with the Rams of the division when the Rams have got some of those guys back, which they do now with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and an offensive line that's playing a lot better. Seattle's going to have to raise its game, and I'm not sure if they're all too capable of that. Geno Smith is just not very good. You know, when I look at the QBs in NFC West, Brock Purdy is definitely better than Geno Smith. Kyler Murray is definitely better than Geno Smith, and a healthy Matthew Stafford is definitely better than Geno Smith. But, you know, it's not just about the NFC West. It's about the NFC as a whole. And the Detroit Lions and Packers, I'm about to flip that game on here in Middleburg, and then we're going to have to go to dinner, I think, at some point. So we'll probably have to watch the end of it after dinner. That to me is a game that's going to set the tone for what should be a very, very spirited NFC race. I think that the NFC's got quite a few contending teams. I don't think that anybody's truly great in the NFC right now because, you know, we talk about somebody like the Lions, no Aiden Hutchinson. They're a team that wants an edge rusher. Are they going to be in on the market when we talk about who's buying and selling, and if the Dolphins end up wanting to sell now at 2-6? Are they going to be in the Calais Campbell market? Are they going to be trying to pick up somebody to replace Aiden Hutchinson? And even if they do, will they be able to replace the impact of an edge rusher who is playing head and shoulders better than anybody else at his position? I mean, that really compromises the Detroit Lions. Again, those colors, awesome. That really compromises the Detroit Lions in a way that people wouldn't have anticipated a few weeks ago before that gruesome fracture that Aiden Hutchinson suffered against the Dallas Cowboys. So everybody's got a weakness. Everybody's trying to patch up weaknesses right now in the NFC. And, what happens over the next 2 months, some of it might be impacted by what happens here over the next 48 hours before the trade deadline. It's going to be really, really fascinating stuff. And obviously cost-benefit analyses happening for all these teams as they try to balance how many assets they're willing to spend to try to improve their teams right now, because all investment is a risk. You're not necessarily going to turn into a better team just because you make a move at the deadline. You've got to make the right moves at the deadline. 49ers traditionally have, but sometimes the right move is no move, just depending on what the market says. Somebody asking if Seattle or LA wins, which would be best for the 49ers? I'm going to go ahead and sit back down. We can take a look at the sunset off of the beautiful brick. This is a good spot. I don't think the 49ers need to worry about, Do they want Seattle to win or LA to win? The division is still so tight. So much can still happen from an injury perspective that you just have to let it play out. Only focus on things that you can control, right? And, somebody says Seattle should win, or the 49ers should hope that Seattle wins because the 49ers have an advantage over the Seahawks. Sure, they have the win over the Seahawks, but I think that the 49ers still control their own destiny in this division. They play every single one of these teams. They've done the first round of the NFC West to those 3 games. They've got 3 more coming. Seattle on November 17th at Levi's. The Rams are coming to Levi's in December, Thursday Night Football. That's right after the 49ers play the Bears. And then in January, the 49ers head to Arizona for the regular season finale. So plenty of opportunities for the 49ers to make a mark in the division. They control how that's going to go. They should just sit back and enjoy their bye week and see who wins in that game between the Seahawks and the Rams. Now, Packers-Lions, the same kind of mentality for the 49ers. Sit back and enjoy, scout, take a look at where those weaknesses might be. You're playing both Green Bay and Detroit because you're playing the entire NFC North. They've already faced off against Minnesota. They got the Bears, as I just mentioned, coming in December. This back half of the season, buckle up. This is going to be really, really interesting and challenging for the 49ers, which is why I'm talking so much about this trade deadline with so much interest. I don't know for sure if they're going to do something. I predicted they probably would make a move, and I know they've been trying. I know they've been looking to see if anything fits, but no good organization makes a move just to make a move. Good organizations bide their time. They wait. Deadline pressure might create some movement on this front. And if something makes sense, then they definitely will pull the trigger on a move. But at this point, I think that we're still waiting to see if the 49ers hit a point where something does make sense at the deadline. Somebody thinks the final game against the Cardinals in Arizona is going to be huge. I've got to book my flight to Arizona. It's the only one I haven't booked yet, because I was so worried about booking flights in 2023 for my airline status. Hadn't yet booked anything for 2024. Looking at the Sea Hero statue here at the National Sporting Museum in Middleburg, Virginia. Really, really cool stuff. We're waiting for Margot to walk out. I told her, check out the museum, take your time. I'm going to talk to my subscribers, make the most of it. I mean, she loves all that horse stuff, so she's checking it out inside. We'll wait here by the door for a little bit, see if she comes out, but ready for more questions for a couple more minutes at a golden hour. I mean, all these this is cool. They've got all this garden work. Like, this is not a real animal, as you can tell. But it is a cool garden. Don't make me walk back out to the Suburban without asking another question. Suburban's still doing well. We're the last people here. I think we got one more statue that we can go see. Over there in the middle. Yeah, that horse over in the middle, that would be a good one. Ojulari was below par today. Do I think the 49ers should go after him? Ojulari is a player that I've mentioned that might be interesting to the 49ers. I've never advocated for it. He's a lighter edge rusher, so he could give you some more pass rushing juice, but I think the 49ers also need to make sure they can consistently set edges. Ojulari is only about 240 pounds. I think they might be looking for more of an every down type. I love the idea of Calais Campbell if it's possible, if the Dolphins are even interested, because he could play every single position. He's played over 100 snaps at defensive tackle. He's played well over 100 snaps at defensive end, at an edge rushing spot. 300 plus pounds, veteran, like we said, future Hall of Famer. Calais Campbell is the man. And, I don't know what the Dolphins are thinking right now. I know they competed with the Bills, but they also lost to Buffalo. That season just seems so tenuous for Miami. This is a memorial to the horses who passed away in the Civil War. Beautiful, beautiful statue. There it is, the Suburban. We are the last people here. Awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna finish up the live at the last statue. Then it's time for dinner. Lino thinks that Tyreek Hill might get traded. Oh, it's about to be wild with rumors for the next 48 hours. Let's buckle up and let's have some fun. I think those second games are starting now at this point, right? Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna be time to sit down and start watching some football. So from the National Sporting Museum, from the statue of Sea Hero in Middleburg, Virginia, this has been another Fun 49ers Live. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the sunset. This is what it's all about. Enjoy the sunset when it comes to the West Coast in about 3 hours. Now enjoy the afternoon games.